Ladies and gentlemen, life is a journey of connections, emotions, and experiences. Sometimes, the people who hurt us are the very ones who return, seeking another chance, another conversation, or another moment to reconnect. But why does this happen? Why do some women come back after walking away, even after causing pain? The answer lies deep within human nature. We, as emotional beings, are drawn to the familiar. Even when relationships break, the memories and attachments remain. Many times, people return not because they have changed, but because they are drawn to the comfort of what was once theirs. Regret and realization play a powerful role. A woman may leave thinking she is making the right choice, only to later recognize the depth of what she lost. Guilt might whisper in her heart, telling her she acted impulsively or unfairly, and so she returns. Perhaps to apologize, perhaps to see if the door is still open. But not all comebacks are rooted in love. Sometimes it is about control. People return to test their influence, to see if they still matter in your world. They may not even intend to stay. They just want to know that they can still walk in whenever they please. This is where you come in. Your self-worth must not be dictated by another's return. You must ask yourself, am I a second option, or am I the prize? Growth is about understanding that not every return deserves a welcome. It is about learning when to open the door and when to keep it shut. True strength lies in moving forward, not in waiting for someone to recognize your value, but in recognizing it yourself. Because the most powerful thing you can do is become so strong that you no longer wait for someone to come back. Human nature is a complex and deeply rooted aspect of our existence, guiding the way we think, feel, and behave in our relationships. One of the most intriguing aspects of human relationships is the tendency for people to return to those they once left, even after causing pain. This phenomenon is not exclusive to any gender, but it is often observed in relationships where emotional bonds run deep. When a woman comes back after hurting someone, it is not always a simple decision or a conscious strategy. It is in many cases a reflection of human nature itself. People are wired to seek familiarity, comfort, and emotional connection. Even when relationships break, the emotional ties do not dissolve instantly. The mind and heart take time to process the separation, and in that process, a person may find themselves drawn back to what was once theirs. One of the fundamental aspects of human nature is the difficulty of letting go. When two people share experiences, emotions, and memories, those moments become a part of their identity. Walking away from a relationship does not mean walking away from the emotions tied to it. Even if a person makes a decision to leave, their mind may continuously revisit the past, questioning whether they made the right choice. This internal conflict often leads to a desire to reconnect, even if they were the ones who caused pain. Another reason people come back is the realization that no relationship is perfect. In the heat of the moment, an individual may believe that leaving is the best option. They may think they will find something better, or they may act impulsively based on temporary emotions. However, over time, reality sets in. They begin to recognize that every relationship has challenges, and that the connection they walked away from may have been more valuable than they initially thought. Regret is another powerful force in human nature. When a person reflects on their past actions, they may feel guilt for the way they treated someone. They may realize that they took a relationship for granted, or that they caused unnecessary pain. This regret can drive them to return, not necessarily to rekindle the relationship, but to seek closure or forgiveness. However, not all returns are driven by love or genuine reflection. Some people come back simply because they crave control. They want to know they still have influence over someone's emotions. They may not have pure intentions, but rather a desire to feel powerful by knowing they can re-enter someone's life at will. This is a test of emotional resilience for the person on the receiving end. Understanding human nature in this context is essential because it allows us to navigate relationships with wisdom. It teaches us that just because someone returns does not mean we must accept them back. It reminds us to value ourselves and recognize that our worth is not determined by whether someone chooses to leave or return. Instead, our strength lies in understanding why people behave the way they do and making choices that protect our own emotional well-being. Emotional attachments are one of the strongest forces that influence human behavior, shaping the way people connect, separate, and even return to past relationships. When a woman comes back after hurting someone, it is often because the emotional bond she once had with that person has not completely faded. No matter how much time passes or how much distance is created, emotions have a way of lingering, making it difficult for people to completely let go. At the core of every relationship is a deep emotional connection that develops over time. This connection is not just about shared experiences, but also about the feelings of comfort, security, and identity that come with being with someone. When a woman walks away from a relationship, she may believe that she is making the right decision at that moment. However, emotions are complex, and cutting ties with someone emotionally is not as simple as physically leaving. Even after hurting someone, a person can still feel drawn to the connection they once shared. Human emotions do not follow logic. A woman may have chosen to leave because she felt unhappy, uncertain, or overwhelmed, but that does not mean her emotions completely disappeared. Feelings of love, care, or even dependency may still exist beneath the surface, pulling her back toward the person she hurt. These emotions can create confusion, making her question whether she made the right choice. In many cases, this internal conflict leads to an attempt to reconnect, either to find closure or to rekindle what was lost. Another powerful aspect of emotional attachment is the idea of familiarity. People naturally gravitate toward what feels familiar and comfortable, even if it is not always the best choice for them. The longer a relationship lasts, the more intertwined two people become in each other's lives. From shared routines to mutual memories, these elements create a sense of belonging that is difficult to replace. When a woman walks away, she may later realize that the emotional comfort she had in the relationship is not easy to find elsewhere, leading her to return. Additionally, emotions can resurface when a person experiences loneliness or hardship. Life is unpredictable, and challenges often make people reflect on what they once had. If a woman faces struggles or emotional difficulties after leaving, she may begin to miss the emotional support she once received. In these moments of vulnerability, the connection she once had with someone can feel more valuable, prompting her to reach out again. However, not every return is based on love. Sometimes people come back because they fear being alone, or because they seek reassurance that they are still wanted. Emotional attachments can create a cycle where a person leaves, only to return when they feel emotionally unfulfilled elsewhere. This cycle can be damaging if it prevents true healing and growth. Understanding the power of emotional attachments helps individuals recognize their own worth. It is important to differentiate between genuine love and the pull of familiarity. True emotional well-being comes from learning when to hold on and when to let go, ensuring that any return to a past relationship is based on growth rather than just lingering emotions. Guilt and regret are two of the most powerful emotions that influence human behavior, often compelling people to revisit past actions and seek to make amends. When a woman returns after having hurt someone, it is sometimes driven by a deep sense of guilt or the realization that she made a mistake. These emotions arise from an internal conflict between past decisions and present emotions, pushing a person to seek resolution, whether through an apology, reconciliation, or simply an attempt to ease their conscience. Guilt is a natural emotional response to actions that have caused harm to others. It emerges when a person recognizes that their behavior may have been unfair, hurtful, or inconsiderate. In the case of relationships, guilt often manifests when someone leaves another person without providing proper closure or after making impulsive decisions that negatively impact their partner. Initially, a woman may feel justified in her actions, believing she did what was best for her. However, as time passes, she may begin to reflect on how her choices affected the other person, leading to feelings of remorse. Regret, on the other hand, is the realization that a past decision may not have been the right one. In relationships, regret often follows when a person starts to understand the true value of what they left behind. A woman may have walked away thinking that she would find something better, that she was unhappy, or that the relationship was not worth continuing. But after some time, she may begin to see things differently. She may recognize the love, support, and companionship she lost, leading her to question whether she made the right decision. One of the biggest triggers for guilt and regret is seeing the other person move on. If the person she hurt begins to thrive without her, it may cause her to reflect on what she lost. Witnessing someone heal, grow, and find happiness elsewhere can amplify feelings of regret, making her want to reconnect or seek forgiveness. Sometimes this return is an attempt to fix the emotional damage she caused, while other times it is simply a way to alleviate her own guilt. Another key factor is self-awareness. People grow and change over time, and as they do, they often gain new perspectives on past actions. A woman who hurt someone may later realize that she acted out of immaturity, fear, or a lack of understanding. With growth comes the ability to recognize one's mistakes, and this recognition can drive someone to return in an effort to make things right. However, it is important to remember that guilt and regret do not always equate to a genuine desire to rebuild a relationship. Sometimes, a person comes back only to ease their own conscience, not because they truly want to stay. This is why it is crucial to evaluate the intentions behind their return. True reconciliation can only happen when both people have grown and are willing to build something better, rather than just seeking temporary emotional relief. Understanding this helps in making the right choices when faced with someone who returns after causing pain. Control and comfort are two significant factors that drive human behavior, especially in relationships. When a woman returns after hurting someone, it is sometimes because she seeks control over the situation, or because she finds comfort in what is familiar. This dynamic is not necessarily intentional or manipulative in all cases, but rather a reflection of deeper psychological needs. Understanding these motivations can help individuals recognize patterns in relationships and make decisions that protect their emotional well-being. One of the main reasons people seek control in relationships is the fear of losing influence over someone they were once close to. When a woman leaves a relationship, she may believe she is making the right choice at that moment. However, as time passes, she may start to wonder whether she still holds a place in the other person's heart. The idea that someone has moved on without her can create feelings of insecurity or even jealousy, leading her to return, not necessarily out of love, but to see if she still has an emotional impact. This type of return is often a test, a way to gauge whether the door is still open for her. Control can also manifest in the form of emotional reassurance. If a woman is unsure about her own decisions, she may return to a past relationship to validate herself. Knowing that someone still cares about her can provide a sense of security, even if she has no intention of staying. This is why some people cycle in and out of relationships, coming back when they feel uncertain or lonely, but leaving again once they feel reassured. This cycle can be emotionally exhausting for the person on the receiving end, as it creates false hope and prevents true healing. On the other hand, comfort plays an equally important role in why someone might return after causing pain. Humans are naturally drawn to familiarity because it provides a sense of safety. Even when a relationship has had its difficulties, it is still something known, something predictable. Starting over with someone new requires effort, vulnerability, and the risk of being hurt again. This can make a past relationship seem like the easier, safer choice, even if it ended for a good reason. When a woman returns seeking comfort, it is often because she realizes that the emotional security she once had is difficult to replace. In moments of stress, loneliness, or disappointment with new experiences, she may look back and remember the stability and warmth she once felt. This nostalgia can lead her to reach out, not necessarily because she wants to rebuild the relationship, but because she misses the feeling of being cared for. However, comfort should never be mistaken for true love or commitment. Just because someone comes back does not mean they are ready to stay. Understanding the difference between seeking comfort and genuinely wanting to be in a relationship is crucial. True emotional growth happens when both people choose to be together out of mutual love and respect, rather than out of a desire for control or the familiarity of the past. Recognizing this distinction allows individuals to make choices that prioritize their self-worth and emotional health. When a woman returns after hurting someone, it is sometimes because she wants to test whether she still holds a place in that person's life. This is often not a conscious or malicious decision, but rather a reflection of human nature. The need to feel significant, to know that one still matters. Testing resilience in this way is common in relationships, as people often seek validation, reassurance, or even closure by checking if the emotional connection still exists. One of the main reasons for this behavior is curiosity. When a relationship ends, people are often left wondering about the other person's feelings and whether they have truly moved on. A woman who returns after causing pain may not necessarily want to rekindle the relationship, but she may want to see if the person she left behind still cares. This can be an attempt to understand whether she still has an emotional impact, even if she has no intention of staying. This type of behavior can also stem from a need for validation. When someone walks away from a relationship, they may initially feel confident in their decision. However, as time passes, doubts may arise. Did they make the right choice? Do they still have the same effect on the person they left? If they return and find that the other person is still emotionally available, it can serve as a form of reassurance that they were valued. On the other hand, if they find that the person has moved on, it can be an unsettling realization, forcing them to confront the finality of their decision. Another important aspect of testing resilience is the power dynamic in relationships. Some people feel a sense of control when they know they can leave and return at will. If they come back and find that they are still welcomed with open arms, it reinforces their belief that they have emotional leverage. This is why some individuals repeatedly leave and return, keeping the other person in a cycle of hope and disappointment. However, it is not always about control. Sometimes, people come back to see if the relationship still has the potential to be salvaged. They may not know how to express their emotions directly, so instead of openly admitting regret or a desire to reconcile, they test the waters. They may start with small gestures, reaching out casually, reminiscing about the past, or checking in unexpectedly to gauge the response. If they sense warmth and receptiveness, they may consider re-entering the relationship. If they sense coldness or indifference, they may retreat. For the person on the receiving end, understanding this behavior is crucial. It is important to recognize whether someone is coming back for genuine reasons or simply to test their influence. Emotional resilience is not about allowing someone to return whenever they please, but about setting boundaries and recognizing self-worth. If someone returns only to see if they still matter, without any true intention of staying or making amends, then the healthiest response is to prioritize one's own emotional well-being. True relationships are built on mutual respect and sincerity, not on repeated tests of emotional endurance. Self-worth is one of the most important aspects of emotional well-being, yet it is often tested when someone who hurt you decides to return. When a woman comes back after causing pain, it can stir a mix of emotions: relief, confusion, hope, and even self-doubt. In such moments, the most crucial question to ask is not why she returned, but rather, what does this mean for me and my self-worth? Understanding the reasons behind someone's return is valuable, but what truly matters is how you see yourself in the process. Many people, after being hurt, are left questioning their value. They wonder if they were not enough, if they could have done something differently, or if they should accept the person back simply because they still have feelings for them. But self-worth is not determined by whether someone chooses to leave or return. It is determined by how you choose to respond. If someone comes back, it is not necessarily a reflection of their love for you. It could be a reflection of their own unresolved emotions, regrets, or even a need for validation. This is why it is important to pause and ask yourself, do I deserve to be someone's second option? One of the most empowering realizations is that you have control over who you allow in your life. Just because someone returns does not mean you have to accept them back. Often, people assume that when someone returns, it means they have changed, or that the relationship deserves another chance. But the truth is, unless real growth and accountability have taken place, the cycle may repeat itself. Self-worth means recognizing patterns and refusing to engage in relationships that do not honor your value. Another important aspect of self-worth is understanding the difference between love and emotional dependence. Sometimes, people come back not because they truly love you, but because they miss the comfort and familiarity you provided. They may not want to be alone, or they may realize that what they had with you was rare. But should you accept someone back simply because they miss you? Or should you prioritize finding someone who values you without needing to lose you first? The answer lies in how you define your own worth. People who know their worth do not wait for others to recognize it. They do not need someone to return in order to feel validated. Instead, they understand that their happiness does not depend on whether another person chooses to stay. They set boundaries, demand respect, and walk away from situations that no longer serve them. They do not mistake someone's return for proof of love. Instead, they evaluate whether that return aligns with their standards and emotional needs. At the end of the day, self-worth is about choosing yourself. It is about understanding that the right person will never make you feel like an option, nor will they leave you questioning your value. When someone comes back, it is not a test of whether you should take them back. It is a test of how much you truly value yourself. Healing and growth are essential parts of life, especially after experiencing pain in relationships. When a woman returns after hurting someone, it is often because she senses that something has changed, either within herself or within the person she left behind. However, what truly matters is not just her reasons for returning, but whether both individuals have actually healed and grown from past experiences. Without genuine growth, any reunion is likely to fall into the same patterns that caused the pain in the first place. Healing is not just about moving past the pain, it is about learning from it. When someone walks away from a relationship, the person left behind often goes through a period of deep reflection. They may experience heartbreak, sadness, or even anger, but over time they begin to see things more clearly. They start to understand their own needs, recognize unhealthy patterns, and build resilience. True healing is not just about waiting for someone to come back. It is about reaching a point where their return is no longer necessary for your happiness. Growth, on the other hand, is about transformation. It means evolving into a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Sometimes people change because of the lessons they've learned from a past relationship. If a woman returns, it is worth asking, has she truly changed? Has she taken responsibility for her actions? Has she grown in a way that ensures she will not repeat the same mistakes? Without personal growth, returning to a relationship is like reopening an old wound. It might feel comforting at first, but it risks causing the same pain all over again. For someone who has been hurt, healing and growth are deeply personal journeys. It is tempting to think that closure only comes from the person who caused the pain, but in reality, closure comes from within. It comes from self-reflection, self-love, and the decision to move forward, regardless of whether the past returns. A healed person does not accept someone back out of loneliness or fear of being alone. They do so only if the relationship has the potential to be truly different. Growth also means learning to set boundaries. If someone comes back without taking accountability, without showing real change, and without demonstrating respect for your healing process, then allowing them back into your life can be damaging. People who have grown understand their worth and are not afraid to say no to situations that do not serve them. They recognize that forgiveness does not mean forgetting, and that moving forward sometimes means leaving the past where it belongs. Ultimately, when someone returns, the question is not why they came back, but whether you have healed enough to make the right decision. Growth means understanding that love is not about second chances. It is about mutual respect, understanding, and a shared commitment to doing better. If both individuals have truly grown, then reconciliation can be meaningful. But if the return is based only on nostalgia, loneliness, or unfinished emotions, then true healing often means choosing yourself and walking away.